If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Buy our merch indeed, a child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener.
The multi-generational stream. If you're like, I never get to see the streams. The place to see the streams is on our other channel, Vin and Sori Live.
Our other channel. What's this
Babe,
channel?
this is the commercial, yo.
No, this is not the commercial.
I'm doing this for the other videos to get. It doesn't matter.
And they're already on Vin and Sori
No,
Live.
they're not, because I'm going to break this video up and I'm going to put it on the other channel, and then they're going to get this information.
I guess.
Why do you have to make everything an argument? Men.
That makes
all right,
sense.
so the song that we just did a commercial and I was adding to it.
Our DJs are the multi-generationals. That's the big homie controller of minds and the big homie Middle Earth.
So this song is
combined, dear listener.
Power Trip.
Crucifixication. Is there a thing to read before?
No.
Okay, here we go, guys. Power Trip, Crucifixication. Time to bang your effing heads. I'll be the judge of that, sir.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
You could be misleading us.
Could be
lying
to us like a media. Nope. Time to bang your heads. Circle pin, let's go. We're an imperial democracy. Talk to what you think you know. Go and leave it on a tombstone. Altering the conscience. You can see what fits. Making goddess a culture for your own benefit. Corrupting everything you see. Delusion spreading like the weed. Your logical fallacy. It's rational savagery. Rational savagery. Talk. Bang your fucking head. You see with his hat? You see with his hat?
Put it out.
Yeah, man. Look at that breakdown, bro. Talk to him. Look at that shit! Look at that shit! Yes! Yes!
A spiritual mockery. Pure American hypocrisy. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yes, bro. Look at you. You look like them angry people on The Simpsons. Wait, no, I gotta see that again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to see the breakdown again. Don't be angry at me, dear listener. I just gotta see when he breaks down. I just gotta see when the breakdown happens. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look at him, he put his hat out. Let's see what it is. Yes, man. Yes. Look at that shit. Yes.
One, there's so many.
Look at that shit. Yeah, look at the black guy. The black guy just jumping around.
American hypocrisy.
I can't rewind it. That one. Love that. That sounds like one of my impromptus. Does it?
What?
Does it sound like one of my impromptus? Circle pit, baby. Oh, they're gonna do the breakdown again.
Don't care what you think you know. Go and leave it on a tombstone. Altering that conscience. You can see what's stick. Indoctrinating violent. To your own benefit. Corrupting everything you see. Delusion spreading like a weed. Your thirst for totality. It's rational savagery.
Fucking love heavy metal, bro. I've missed thee, metal. I've missed thee. Yes, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, man. I love that. Everybody banging in freaking unison. It was the middle of the day. It wasn't even night. These people did not need the ambiance. They created the freaking ambiance. I freaking love heavy metal, bro. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. Shout out to Maddie Nutrition. Apparently the singer died. That sucks.
Yeah.
Fuck it. That's the worst thing. That's the absolute... People ask us in interviews sometimes, like, that's the fucking worst thing about this channel, man.
Yeah.
You find somebody, you fall in love with them, blah, 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 and they're freaking... They're off to the ain't self.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all good. It's all good. We're going to celebrate their music, inshallah.
The other dimension they're playing there.
Yeah, I really, really love this song, man. Holy shit. It was just so heavy. And
Yeah.
the circle pit.
Yeah.
That end of the end of our first song, that shit is, I'm telling, that shit is heavy as hell, bro. That shit is just like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, it is. It really is.
this shit is, it's hard. People gonna lose their shit once they hear and see what we're capable
The greatness.
of. The greatness.
Vin and
The anger. Misery. Okay.
Misery.
Territorial pissing contest. It sickens my nerves. Atrophy of morality. The people left. Oh, that's a good line. Atrophy
Of morality. Yeah.
Brilliant. That's really good too, because your muscle atrophies when you don't use it. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things about like our collective morality is that it starts off subtle. Like a society doesn't like wake up killing babies.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it atrophies over a period of time.
Right.
You know, and then you come up with all these different ways of justifying X or Y, Z behavior. And like
Yep.
this is the biggest thing I see about Americans is that we're you know, apathetic. Our empathy mechanism has been completely bastardized by our media. It's unbelievable. I mean, I'll finish the lyrics and I'll talk about what I'm talking about. But
a foregone conclusion, the lock before the key, raised on ideology and imperial democracy.
Brilliant.
I don't care what you think you know. Go and leave it on your tombstone.
Yeah. A foregone conclusion, the lock before the key. Uh-huh. You know, your barred gates of entry.
Yep.
Like, the default should be freedom. Mm-hmm. That should be the default. But what's the default is
Locks.
restriction
and
locks and we're gonna deplat. We're gonna like it's unbelievable stuff. I don't care what you think you know. Go and leave it on your tombstone. Altering the conscious. I'm assuming that should be consciousness, but whatever. You can see what fits. Making carnage of culture for your own benefit.
Jeez.
Your purity is make-believe. Delusion spreading like a weed. Your illogical fallacy is rational
Savagery.
This guy. Holy shit. This guy is no freaking joke, bro.
Yeah, I know. He's very good with his lyrics.
He is no joke. Look at those appositional thought logical fallacy, rational savagery.
Mm-hmm.
Crucifixation, mental devastation, a spiritual mockery, pure American hypocrisy. I'm assuming there's the Christian right and their penchant for war. What year was this song written?
It says, wait a minute, that's modified by, I saw it in here before. Hold on.
2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
February 24th.
2017. So, pure American territorial pissing con. It sickens my nerves, and it's just repeat. So they just said the same thing twice.
But altering your conscience, you can see what sticks. Indoctrinating violence for your own benefit, corrupting everything you see. Delusion spread like a weed. Your thirst for totality is rational savagery. Again, they said that line.
I mean, unbelievable lyrics, and you know it's. You know, this is going to be dangerous. Welcome to the channel. We came from an evangelical right.
Yep. I wonder if we're thinking the same thing. Okay, go ahead.
I doubt we are. We came from an evangelical right-wing perspective.
Yep.
You know, so when you talk about calling out hypocrisy, for example, it's always one of those things where it's like, it's very popular to point out evangelical right-wing hypocrisy. So if we go, man, the evangelical church is a bunch of hypocrites. You'll allow pedophile priests to go everywhere, but then you'll go after gay people. People are like, yeah, that's right. Point out the hypocrisy. But then when you point out the neoliberal, blue no matter who establishment hypocrisy and false morality and all the other bullshit, people get really, really uptight.
You lost me. Blue morality? Wait.
Blue no matter who is basic. No, not the left. Not
Okay,
the left.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Blue no matter who is, we have to vote for a Democrat no matter who he is. It doesn't matter how fucked up the Democrat is. Basically, we have to vote for Joe Biden because he's a Democrat. So it's a blue no matter who media bullshit. And
Why did you say not the left? Isn't the left Democrat?
No. Bernie Sanders would be the left. But you saw what the Democratic Party did to Bernie Sanders.
Okay.
See, it's one of the things I learned from the channel.
Okay.
CNN, MSNBC, those people are not leftists.
Yeah.
They're basically they're right wingers with a different cultural flavor, but they're the same group of people.
Yeah. Okay.
But the people that support them, when you point out the hypocrisy.
I'm so sorry. Look at what Dwayne changed his name to.
Huh?
Dwayne.
What do you say? What artist?
Dwayne Chamberlain 3.5 because that's what I gave the Beatles.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead.
It's just when you point out the hypocrisy of, modern neoliberal secularists, they get crazy and they can't see it. Like this whole Russia-Ukraine situation.
Yep. Okay, what about it?
Well, so for example, what they're talking about, like your morality, like these people, you got people that really truly believe that because they put a yellow and blue thingy on their Facebook picture that they're like some good person.
Oh.
It's like, motherfucker, you come from a country that bombs the living shit.
Yeah.
How many years have I been talking about those pine nut farmers in Afghanistan? People genuinely, legit do not care.
Right.
They didn't care.
Yeah.
And then now they're putting all this blue and yellow shit in their Facebook, and now they think they're really moral people. And they're demonizing Putin, saying all this crazy shit about Vladimir Putin. Meanwhile, we're about, we've got I published this on Middle America. We did a thing on Middle America where we're sizing up in the next 10 years to eat up about 50% of the EU's we're about to be their gas patrons.
Yeah.
Because they can't buy from Russia anymore because Russia's bad and we're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just so happens the Nord Stream pipeline, it circumvents Ukraine, so that's $2 billion a year that Ukraine's going to lose if Nord Stream 2 gets approved. Nord Stream is not getting approved because of what Putin did. So, we are benefiting exponentially from this situation. And it's not we, it's American oil and gas oligarchs are benefiting. But it's mind-boggling to me when you have these people who are now all of a sudden they're crying about Ukraine. And, my son was asking me, he's like, Father, look what we're doing in Somalia, Yemen, yada, yada, yada. He's like, have you not been talking about that? I said, bro, I've been talking about it for literal years. Nobody fucking cared at all. They did not care. Yeah. And now people are crying and all this shit over Ukraine. I'm like, what the fuck is this witchcraft? How did this occur? It's like, it's plain as a nose on your face. It's like, your government is actively bastardizing your emotion. It's a spiritual mockery. It's pure American hypocrisy. It's mind-boggling to me how people can't see it and how offended and people and defensive people get. Now, granted, I'm not very subtle when I say you're a fucking hypocrite. I'm not subtle about it because I've been talking about all the shit that's been happening to people all over, and it's different if you've seen the ramifications of one of those things. I understand that about myself. If you've actually seen what this shit actually looks like,
you're not so quick to just say it's
very hard. It's very hard to just whatever. So I understand that about myself,
easily,
and you have to understand that, but. Man, the pure hypocrisy of Americans is unbelievable. And then this whole concept, I love them to death, but this whole concept of whataboutism. Dear listener, whataboutism is not real. It's literal. The term whataboutism is literally a propaganda device.
Yeah.
For example, let's apply this whataboutism concept to other circumstances. I go to my kid and I say, Dorian, you can't smoke. You're 14, 15 years old, you can't smoke. And he goes, well, you're smoking all over the place. And I go, oh, that's whataboutism. If a cop pulls you over and he starts saying, you drove over the speed limit, and then you say to him, well, you're violating my car. Oh, that's whataboutism. Like, that is a rhetorical and a propaganda device to make it so that you can never point out
just to silence
anyone's hypocrisy.
Yeah.
You can never call anyone a hypocrite, because the minute you call the person a hypocrite, and look, the thing is talking about right there, hypocrisy, pure American hypocrisy, which Controller of Minds is not an American, but that's the point.
Yeah.
Is the only time the term whataboutism gets trotted out is when people don't want to get called out on their hypocritical bullshit. That's all.
Yep. They want to silence.
So for example, right? If America bad, hence no American can criticize any other country's action. That's not what I said. I didn't say we cannot criticize any other country's actions. Far from it. What I said was, you live, not you, Controller, but we live in a country that bombs the living shit out of people every fucking day. We bombed so many people that we ran out of fucking bombs. And what I'm saying is, we didn't give a fuck.
Nope.
And when I was talking about the 30 pine nut farmers that we blasted into eternity, how many times on this channel have you heard me say it? Nobody cared. And when we killed Anwar al-Awlaki's daughter, the first day of the Trump administration, nobody was putting Yemeni flags on their fucking Facebooks. Nobody. We didn't care. Now all of a sudden, you've got the Ukrainian bull. That's what I'm talking about. That's not whataboutism. I did not say we cannot criticize Putin, blah, blah, blah. What I'm saying is, if you're an American and this war somehow ends up benefiting you, because now 50% of the EU's gas is going to go to us as a patron, then we should question, wait a second here, maybe our government orchestrated this so that we could benefit from it. That's what I'm saying. But whataboutism completely shuts down that discussion.
Yep. Convenient.
I have never heard a person. I have never heard the first time I was introduced to whataboutism was when we were talking about Trump.
Okay.
And Trump had put those kids in cages.
Yeah.
And DJ said to me, Obama built those cages. And I said, bullshit, he didn't build those cages. And then I went, wah, 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 wah. And I said, holy fucking shit, Obama built the cages. So then, during the Biden, the runoff in 2020, I was like, you do realize that Obama built the cages and that Biden was the vice president while Obama built the cages.
Yep.
You do realize that.
Yep.
And people said, you know what they said to me? That's whataboutism, Vin. Guess what, dear listener? Guess who's got kids in cages? Joe Biden. Right now, there's fucking kids in cages. And you know what? All the liberals, all the defensive neoliberals who were crying about the kids in cages during the Trump administration have not a fucking word to say about the So I am done. The whataboutism thing to me is such fucking bullshit. Save it. I don't want to hear it. It's ridiculous. It is a weak, and it's funny because this guy talked about logical fallacy. It is a weak, logically fallacious, weak-ass rhetorical device so that you don't have to deal with the hypocrisy of yourself or the subculture that you're a part of or whatever. I've not ran into a single person that ever justified Trump putting kids in cages with the Biden administration. I have never ran into a single person that said, Vladimir Putin is, well, one, Jackson Hinkle, okay? But I haven't read anybody else that said Vladimir Putin is a good guy and what he did was great, blah, 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 blah. To point out American hypocrisy and the hypocrisy of our media is not whataboutism. It's not. We've been killing motherfuckers all over the fucking planet. And now that it's happening to these people, all of a sudden, now we're supposed to put green and fucking blue and criticize Vladimir Putin, yada, 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 yada. Ridiculous. Now, what I will say about Putin is that, you know, bin Laden had the great Satan and the little Satan. He said the Israelis were the Israelis were the little Satan, we were the big Satan, right? So when I look at Vladimir Putin, if I say Americans have no room to talk about invading a country and committing war crimes, no room to talk doesn't mean that Vladimir Putin is not an objectively bad person. Mm-hmm. But what it does mean is to say, we've done worse. Mm-hmm. So to sanctimoniously pretend, I wish the media would say, Vladimir Putin, operating from the precedent set in the United States in 2004 and their illegal, inhumane invasion of Iraq, which resulted in the deaths of 300,000 to 1.5 million innocent civilians, created an image and likeness of God who have done them no harm, has now invaded Ukraine. I would be fine. I would be fine if they posited the story that way, but they don't. They make it sound like this is the first time somebody's ever illegally invaded a country on the premise of weapons of mass destruction. And the American media is looking straight into the camera. Fucking Joe Biden went on TV and called this man a war criminal.
Yeah, I know.
That's hypocrisy.
Yeah, that really, that's too far. Think
We're
about
the fucking war criminals.
How many did you say died?
Unfucking believable.
How many?
500,000 to 1.5 million. Unbelievable.
And then how many during the when the Jews were put in concentration camps and all that?
Yeah, 6 million.
Oh, that's still a big number anyway. I didn't know if it was close at all.
It's such bullshit to me. Find a different argument than whataboutism. Yeah. Ridiculous. It is not because the thing is when you say, okay, so Joe Biden's got kids in cages now. They don't say anything.
I know.
They don't say a fucking word.
I know.
All these people that were telling me that
everybody was acting like this was the end of the world and making it look like it's all because of Trump.
Sadak.
And then now here,
yes.
Originally, like you said, it went in during the Obama administration.
Yeah.
It's sad because when that happens, it becomes so obvious that these children in cages are only talking points for them, and they don't really care about the kids.
And that's one of the things that Caucasians do not understand about why. This is one of the things that goes way over their heads. Do you not realize that all you did was use the suffering of brown people as a political cudgel? Do you not realize how infuriating that is?
And it's crazy because people
cared about brown people when the white guy was in power that you didn't like, but now there's a white guy in power you like. All of a sudden, you're not crying about brown people anymore. You don't realize how fucking crazy that is. And
it was like so obvious to people.
The lack of self-awareness is
when Biden was saying, "If you don't vote for me, you ain't black." Like people saw that was crazy that he said that. But then in this situation, which is significantly worse, because these kids are suffering over there. Yeah. Like, they're using it, I don't know. It's just unbelievable. But because people can see it. They just choose not to.
But this proves the point of my song. People love to point out religious hypocrisy, but then when secularists get called out, they get all defensive and crazy, just like our religious friends. Yeah. The point is, people are people no matter how you slice them. This is clear and utter hypocrisy, and then we make up terms like whataboutism and all this other type of shit. And in religious circles, it's the same. Don't touch the Lord's anointed. Everybody has these crazy little phrases that people use to try to shut down people calling out their hypocritical bullshit. Every subculture is the same. I used to think that religious people were particularly hypocritical and defensive until this shit started, and I said, holy shit,
this is a problem.
Everybody is like this.
With human nature.
Yeah. We love to point out other people, don't want to do any sort of self-examination at all. At all. Mm-hmm. And it's just a weakness. It's a weakness in human nature.
Yeah.
And That's another thing that I've learned from this entire experience is that everybody's like this.
Yeah.
I used to think, oh, it's just religious people, yada, yada, yada. Nope. You could be a secular, quote, humanist and be the same fucking hypocritical, evil motherfucker.
It's something that you have to actively watch because you'll get sucked right into it before you even realize you are being sucked into it. I think a lot of people do not realize the hypocrisy of crying about Ukraine but not caring about the pine nut farmers. Mm-hmm. They don't realize it because if they could sit down without the emotion of you're right, they're wrong, you're right, and any of that, if they could just sit down with no emotion about it, like let's just look at the facts, then I think people could see it easier. But ego gets in the way, and then everybody gets slaughtered on that altar.
Yep, it's true.
We were watching a conversation between Tucker Carlson and who? Some other guy.
Which one? Yeah.
And the entire conversation, there was so much ego in the conversation. I couldn't even believe it. I said, can you imagine how short this conversation would be? Hey, I got to take that.
Why?
Well, it might be. Hello?
Is it?
My prescription's been called in.
Oh. Okay. Well, that's good. Look, nobody talks about it. No, I didn't say nobody talks about it. What I said is nobody's crying about it.
Yeah.
Nobody's making the Broadway production about it.
Right.
They did one thing to acknowledge it,
and
then off they went.
There was no
Rachel
add any
Maddow,
flags to your
AOC,
Facebook page.
All of y'all were when it was Trump. Now the white guy's in power that the neoliberals like, so they don't give a fuck about them black people anymore. They don't care about the Mexican kids anymore. It's fucked up. It's really fucked up. But you know what? You know what I say to black people? I say, you deserve it. This motherfucker motherfucker went on TV and said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. So if they didn't show you black people, they don't respect you, you fucking deserve it voting for that guy.
Rich Yonkers, I don't agree with you because if you add up all the deaths that Americans have been a part of, and I'm including aborted children in that, then our number must be how like everybody wants to look at Hitler and they want to crucify Hitler because of what he did. And granted, I think what he did was horrible, and I think he was a horrible human being for what he did.
61 million kids since 1970.
You can't say that our sins don't compare with his. Ridiculous. I think ours are worse because he was one person that like did that. There's a lot of people complicit in the deaths that we've been complicit in. And there's a lot of people that have done this in the face of other people suffering.
Complete American apathy.
So, no, I think we have to compare
American apathy.
And that's the tactic that everybody uses. They don't want to look at their own thing. They want to point at somebody else and talk about how bad they are.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that you and I really work on. We try to say, okay, well, how am I responsible for this or that thing? If it's, the kids go off and they did something, well, how are we responsible for what they did? We can't just blame everything on the kids. We're their parents.
Yeah.
A lot of times people want to just put the blame on somebody else. But if everybody's pushing off the blame, we're never going to change from our bad ways.
That's the point.
Because we can't see where the problem is. See where you're responsible.
Correct.
You can't blame all the president and this person and that person. Where are you responsible?
Right.
And a lot of us, like we said before, are so fast to talk about the Ukraine thing or put up the Ukraine thing on our profile pictures, but nobody gave a fuck when it was the pine nut farmers. There was no flag. There wasn't even a button for that option.
You didn't care.
So yes, we have to look at ourselves and we have to recognize where we failed humanity.
Ignore the world's problems and focus whatever's on. That seems like a fairly isolationist point of view. River! If we held our government accountable in 2004, then the rest of the world would be in a much better situation. When your country is the lone superpower on the planet and trudges around and fucks shit up for everybody, then the only way that can work is if the citizens are either supportive or apathetic.
Yep.
And the fact of the matter is, you And all of us, to certain degrees, have been apathetic to the suffering of other human beings caused by our country. And you and I and Soraya have to take self-accountability of our apathy and our hypocrisy and stop getting defensive when people point it out. And then we get caught in logical traps. And instead of saying, you're right, I'm a hypocrite, I'm a work in progress, like you are, instead we say, that's whataboutism and we shouldn't be held accountable for it. That's my point. That's what I'm saying. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm just talking to you directly because we're friends and I know that you can take it. But instead of us saying, yeah, you know, that really probably would fuck me up if I was a brown person, that there was all this belly aching when it was Trump, and then nobody has even remotely the same emotion when it comes to Biden. It's just getting shoved under the rug. Yeah, I could see how my black and brown friends would be infuriated by that. Nope! That's whataboutism! That's what I'm saying. My point is, none of us are better than anybody else. So we got hypocritical right-wing evangelicals whose apathy and self-interest are destructive. And the reason that subculture won't change is because the minute you call them on it, they get extremely defensive. And then you've got neoliberal secular humanists who also have horrible, destructive, apathetic, self-interested goals that result in the death and destruction and misery of millions of people all over this planet. And it's not going to change because anytime they get called on it, they get defensive, they create weird logical categories like whataboutism, and they will not take accountability for their own apathy, lack of action in the place of other people's suffering because they're worried about gas prices. These are facts. These are facts. And if you were a propagandized, hypocritical person, how would you know it?
Right.
And all of us are imperfect people. All of us will say nobody's perfect. Okay, well, if nobody's perfect, is it possible that maybe you are a hypocritical, apathetic person who's contributed to the sufferings of millions of people on the planet? Because I know I've looked at myself and said, yeah, I'm not doing enough. I'm not saying enough. And that's one of the reasons why I kept talking about those pine nut farmers. You can go check the videos. I mean, anybody who's been a Vin and Sori lifer for any period of time knows that we've talked about that in length. So my point is, we love songs like this. We love to point out the hypocrisy of the church, but we don't want to look ourselves in the mirror.
Yep. And I just want to point out what Dwayne said.
All the smoke.
He said, sorry, don't forget the attempted genocide of the indigenous people, millions. And I'm not sure, like, if that's the same, you know, like Pony was wanting us to talk about, like, there's a lot of indigenous people, women, children that go missing and it doesn't even get reported on. Like, tons of them have gone missing.
Yes.
From which state, I don't really know, which is sad on my part that I don't even know. The idea that women and children are just going missing and that nobody cares and nobody's reporting on it or doing anything. But then you have Gabby again, who's blonde and white, and it gets reported all over the place. When this is common, this is a common happening for the indigenous. Like, that's really terrible.
Okay.
Like, I think that it's good that Gabby got, but where's the coverage for the other stuff too? Like, there are lots of people suffering and we are party to that.
River, I've talked about the dead people in Afghanistan for years. I've talked about Yemen for years. I've talked about the Horn of Africa. How come you didn't talk about them? How come you're spending all this time talking about Ukrainians? We've had very extended conversations. You've been in Middle America. Where are your extended discussions about all those innocent people we've been killing for years? Where are they? Send me the screenshot. See, that's the problem. I've talked to all of you offline. So I know what was important to you. I understand your issue with Ukraine. It's valid to a degree. You got family over there. Fine. What I'm saying is you've been extremely apathetic when it comes to the death and destruction and suffering of other people, and you haven't spoken out about it in public forums when you've had the opportunity. You haven't. You haven't. Especially not to the degree that you have here. That's what I'm talking about. That's a hypocrisy I'm talking about. I'm sure I have blind spots, and if somebody calls me on it, I'll probably get defensive initially, but we've got to look at it. If we don't look at it, the shit's going to keep continuing.
Yep.
What is it? All of us here in this room are the exceptions to the rule? Everybody's a hypocrite except
Well,
for
that's
us.
convenient.
If everybody would just be like us, then our country would stop bombing the fucking shit out of people. Do we really? Do we all believe that? We think all these songs are about everybody else and not us.
I think yes. That's what happens.
Yeah, that's delusional. If you think all these songs are about everybody else but not us, you're fucking crazy. Having said that, this is me trying to call the herd. What did you give the song?
I gave this one a 9.
This song's a 10 for me.
Ooh, wow, okay.
For obvious reasons. I love the song. I love the song. And I hope one day that folks will really get the spirit of the song deep down into their core. And look, my perspective is for the uninitiated, I believe in original sin. All of us suck as people. I assume all of us suck as people. So if I say you're a hypocrite, blah, 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 that's not like some special whatever. That's my assumption is the badness of everybody. My shock is the fact that we really the mentality of religious people I thought was only for religious people.
Yep.
But there is a secular sort of religious sacrosanct sort of hypocritical like nose up over everybody thing that's unbelievable to me. Everybody's a hypocrite except for you. Okay.
Yep.
This is one of the benefits of having children.
Convenient.
What do you give the song? What did you give
I
it?
already gave it a 9. You already rated it.
It's a 10. Love the song. Shout out, much love, hearts to everybody. We have more music coming for you, for the 4 of you that still remain. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone. Holy fucking shit.